When I just remember one of the lady who still says Warren Zevon, no matter how many times I told her, and he says his own name. You can find video, and it's even on some of his records. He says his name, right?
It's rolling.
Welcome to Abandoned Albums, the documentary podcast where we peel back the curtain to try to figure out why some albums weren't as popular when they were initially released or have just been forgotten about over time. I'm your host, Keith R. Higgins, and I love music, not because I'm a musician, but because I'm a fan. My mother used to say that when I was a kid, I would have to have music on to fall asleep. Now, this was a habit I kept well into my 20s until I was caught smuggling hash and had to spend 10 years in a Turkish prison. Now, I have many things to thank my parents for. 35 years of intensive therapy, a near crippling anxiety about interpersonal relationships, and a love of comedy.
Hey, Bud. Bud.
Huh?
Got a match?
Match? Yes, I have one right here.
Don't make a move. This is a stick-up.
What?
You heard me.
Mister, put down that gun.
Shut up. Now, come on. Your money or your life? Look, Bud. I said your money or your life. I'm thinking it over.
My introduction to comedy was listening to the old stand-up records of a particular comedian. This comedian would eventually be known as America's father. More recently, this comedian would be known as being a serial rapist. But at one time, it's safe to say he was more known for his comedy than he was for his raping. On this episode of Abandoned Albums, we take a step away from music and take a look at comedy albums. We're going to take a look at the Whitest Kids You Know, a sketch comedy group from New York City, who released an album in 2006, just around the time that the first season of their show was broadcast on Fuse. The Whitest Kids You Know are Sam Brown, Zach Kreger, Trevor Moore, Darren Trumeter, and Timmy Williams.
World music has no bigger star than didgeridoo legend Saul Rosenberg. He is to the didgeridoo what Yo-Yo Ma is to Asians. And now, for the first time ever, media presents a must-have for any didgeridoo enthusiast. Sal Rosenberg plays the hits. There's My Heart Will Go On, Bridge Over Troubled Waters, Sweet Caroline, and many more. So order your copy of Saul Rosenberg Plays the Hits today.
Didgeridoo it today.
So in this episode, we're going to talk to Timmy Williams, one of the members of the Whitest Kids You Know.
Hold on, my computer's not actually plugged in. 1 second. I'm so bad at this. I'm gonna get something to drink while I'm on. Oh, God. Okay.
Sounded more like you were peeing than getting something to drink.
I have a Brita tank right there. That's what that is.
I've known Timmy for a long time.
When I try to explain to people what we did, they're just like, I'm like, I don't know either, man. It's just don't worry about it. I know that I talked to Casper Weinberger once, and that's as cool as it got.
If you have a mutual fund and you get shit in the mail and you throw it away, well, there's a whole industry out there that'll harass you on the phone to get you to vote. That's what Timmy and I did.
Right, and we had kind of a cool ragtag weirdo punk rock group of people, and I ended up the boss for a short time, which is random, totally random. Now, I think you had taken a different position in the company by that point.
I did.
But I became the boss, the night boss of like 7 people, all older than me, all more experienced at the job than me. And I would sit in my little cubicle, monitoring everybody else, just instant messaging Chelsea Peretti, because we figured out how to hack my inter-office messaging to talk to other people. So I would message Chelsea Peretti and Trevor all fucking day long, just like sending silly stuff to each other, whatever. And I was the boss.
Before we got into the nuts and bolts of the Whitest Kids You Know album, Timmy and I took this opportunity to catch up and talk a little bit about some of our favorite movies and music. Do you have Gymkata?
Yes, I do. In fact, yeah, dude, we used to talk about it. Did we watch it together? Dude, we probably watched this. I've had this DVD of it for years, and we probably watched this DVD of it. There it is.
God, I love that.
Yeah, it's
such a ridiculous movie.
Dude, yeah, I should watch it again. It's been
absolutely.
Too long. I have like 5 movies that start with ninja. You know, that's what I'm doing.
But only one.
Only one that starts with Jim. I just recently went through my shelf yesterday and kind of arranged stuff, and I have like a middle shelf on my movie shelf where I set out things. And my daughter just today was like, Gymkata. I'm like, don't worry about it. It's I'm looking right now at my gigantic Blu-ray collection, which is all from COVID pretty much too, you know, because I was like, I think, even though I've never said it out loud, I think I'm subconsciously was like, everything's going down. I need physical media again. You know? You know what I got into that I feel like is like, all right, so you've liked Tool, but you still get laid a little too much. How about Rush? You know? And that's who I got into the last like 5-10 years, you know? But
I love Rush.
Rush is fan-fucking-tastic. What's your favorite like time, like what's your favorite Rush period?
Probably 78 through 84. Through, was it Subdivisions? Is that the record? Grace Under Pressure is the record, yeah.
Okay, yep. Yeah, I would say that, I like 2112, but to me, Farewell to Kings, Hemispheres,
yeah,
Permanent Waves fucking rules.
Really a great
record. And then Moving Pictures, and then, yeah, Subdivisions. And, yeah.
There isn't a bad song on Moving Pictures.
Dude, you know who Jordan Hoffman is? He's like a movie critic, but he also writes about music, and he's into jam bands. He wrote a list of... He's like a Twitter friend, because we have mutual friends or whatever, and he wrote an article a couple years ago where he just ranked every Rush song.
Wow. And
he put Red Barchetta at number 1. And now would I do that? I don't know. I'm here to talk about Rush.
I could do it, man. I can do it.
I could do it, too.
What's the origin story for the Whitest Kids?
So I joined the group late. So the group actually started when Trevor was in, he moved up from Virginia wanting to do comedy and stuff. He'd been doing cable access TV show, which is basically a sketch comedy show. And he moved to New York and wanted to keep doing that. And he went to like an open mic night at UCB and met Sam there and basically was like, hey, I want to start a comedy group, a sketch group. Do you want to too? And he's like, yeah. And so that was like fall of 2000. And they went to the same school. And so it started Whitest Kids, as a school group, which meant they got school funding, but also anyone that wanted to join could join. So then like a 13, 15 member group happened. And the first show was on April 20th, 2001. And then, or April, yeah. And then, 5 months later, 9/11 happens. I met them on 9/11. We became friends, and I eventually joined the group. And at that point, Zach was already in there, Sam and Trevor were already in there, and a bunch of other people that are no longer associated were already in there. And so then I was in there. I was the only person that was in it that didn't go to that school. And then we met Darren a couple years later, about a year and a half later. And then once everybody graduated from that school, anyone who didn't want to keep being serious about it quit. And it was just the 5 of us.
Wow. And
then we started performing at pianos. Fall of 2005, we shot a pilot for the Sundance Channel that didn't go anywhere. And then January 2006, we got into the Aspen Comedy Arts Festival. One of the last ones. They stopped doing it not long after that. And then right around then, Fuse wanted us to make a TV show. So we were like, all right. We heard after the first season that Fuse was going to start tightening up their content a little bit as far as offensive stuff goes. So we ended up on another channel, part of the same company. So we went to IFC, and there we were for the remainder of our TV life. And we did almost exactly what we wanted to do on that show for like 5 years. Like we got away with murder a lot of times. Very little skullduggery, very little messing with what we did.
So what was the impetus for the album?
We knew that we were going to be going on tour at some point with some bands as part of Fuse's whole thing, because Fuse is also a network, a music network. So songs was always part of what we did. We had music videos that were going to be in the show that we'd already shot independently ourselves, just like in Queens or whatever. We wanted something to sell when we were on tour, you know.
You listen to some of those tracks on there, it's like, wow, you know.
Yeah.
I like it because I like that kind of humor.
Okay, so yeah, going specifically to the album. So the first track on the album is the worst thing I personally have ever done.
Hello there, and welcome to the Whitest Kids CD. You're listening to me. I want you to think of me not as a CD that you own, but as a friend that you can confide in. Your best friend. We're going to have so much fun together, and you can tell me all your thoughts and dreams, and I'll always be here for you. Whenever you're feeling blue, you can just put me on. So, how was your day today? Yeah? Did you have fun at school? Uh-huh. Really? They did. They did. They think they're so fucking smug, don't they?
And it's me talking directly to the kids. It's like an evil album, telling them to cut themselves, take a gun to school, and like jerk off to dogs and stuff like that.
What a great introduction.
Yeah. Well, and that's the idea, is like, you know, wanting to be, because we always want to be the show and want to be the group and want to be the album that, you know, kids hide from their parents. And so it's like, because parents think that they're, you know, we were playing on that kind of mid 80s, early 90s thing of like, you know, albums telling their kids to do shit. Well, here's an album that's literally telling you to do stuff. And we thought that was funny.
You don't have to play the Whitest Kids backwards to get the message.
No. They're right there. It's track 1. When you talk about like the Whitest Kids album, and yeah, if it got more popular again, I don't think, you know, yeah, some of our stuff would maybe bother people now, but that's something I get a lot of Twitter messages about. Hey man, if you guys were on TV today, it would never work. And I don't buy that. I still think that a good 85, 88, 90% of our stuff is still fine, because we're pretty much always punching up, and that's never going to go out of style, you know?
Let's rewind the clock. So you get the show, it's 2006, and I think you released the album came out in 2006. Am I right?
This is the stupidest fucking thing. When did Tool's album Lateralis come out? Let's look. Because I can connect it all. Don't worry. I can figure it all is going to make sense. It was 10,000 Days. Okay. When did 10,000 Days come out? Was it 2006? It was 2006. Yes. Okay. Got it. Okay. So, we started making the show, and while we were still in pre-production on the show, like finishing the scripts and stuff, we knew we had sketches that would work as audio, and then we could write some new ones that would work as audio. And so we're like, okay, cool.
YouTube has pretty strict guidelines around copywritten information, so if you're looking for the episode with song samples from the actual album we're discussing, you can find those episodes at iTunes, Spotify, Audible, wherever podcasts are. But in lieu of the song, here's either a sample noise or a sample song that does not have a copyright attached to it.
The way that we were as a group before we got on TV, we're basically a punk band without instruments. We would show up at a show with just like a handwritten set list and very few props or costumes. We always had a rock and roll aspect to it, and we did shows at rock clubs, you know. Trevor used to always say, like, girls with purple hair, that's who our fan base is. And that is still our fan base, only a lot of those people are moms, but they have purple hair still, you know. So
they're just in their 40s, you know.
Yeah, exactly. They still got purple hair.
Tell me about the recording. Do you know, well, of course you know where you recorded
Yes.
it. Where did you record it?
I looked it up. Okay, so we recorded at the Shed in New York City. It's that would be oh God, what's that area? Not Cobble Hill. What's that? Is it Cobble Hill in Manhattan? No,
that's Brooklyn. Yeah.
Okay, what's something hill? Kind of on the west side in the 30s. think it was the East Side. I can't remember.
Oh,
Anyways,
Murray
it's
Hill.
called
Is it Murray,
Murray
Hill?
Hill.
Yeah, that's the East Side.
The Shed is in the Murray Hill side. Okay.
Yep.
So they also had recorded albums at the Shed by My Chemical Romance, Herbie Hancock, Scissor Sisters. So there you go.
Wow.
But the guy that produced our album is Dan Wise, and he did us. He did Madball, which is like a hardcore band. He done a bunch of other stuff, including the Naked Brothers band. It's funny when you get people. It's just, to me, like, it's like, wow, we got a guy who like produces like bands and music. It's like, and now you have to record 5 white guys talking. Like.
Well, the guy I told you, the guy who produced the Broken Homes record, actually produced Cheech and Chong back in the day.
Oh, it's just so funny because, like, to me, it doesn't seem like it takes someone with skills to do it, but I don't know. Maybe it does.
Well, I can't imagine the producer of you guys or anybody of a comedy group actually being like, oh, I think you guys should do it over again. That wasn't funny enough.
Yeah.
Now, in a music environment, a producer's going to be like, nah, your bass is out of tune.
Right.
Here's either a sample noise or a sample song that does not have a copyright attached to it. How long did it take you to record it? Do you remember?
Like a couple of days. I think 2-3 days.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not super long. We would go in there for, I think we did a couple like kind of fullish days, like 4 or 5 hours, because we're also doing pre-production on the TV show, getting fit for costumes and all that. So yeah, I think it's been so long, but I think probably a couple hour sessions, maybe over the course of a week, but just never super long. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, it was pretty chill. Like, it never got super tense, and I don't remember there being any particularly long times because, like, there's 11 or 12 tracks on it. 3 or 4 of them were songs we'd already did for the TV show. The rest of them were just sketches we would record, but they were pretty much just us talking, so it wasn't nothing too difficult. So
you guys go on the road with rock bands. Who did you go on the road with?
Well, we only did the rock band thing once, and that was when we were on Fuse, because Fuse really wanted us to do it. So we went on tour with Flogging Molly and 2 other bands that were on Side 1 Dummy Records at the time. Zox, Z-O-X, from Ohio, and, oh my God. Anyways, so it was cool. And like, Flogging Molly is like, when you hear his band and you're like, is that the Pogues? No. Is it the Dropkick Murphys? No. It's Flogging Molly.
They're the third one. They rank third. Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe that's would make them mad. But what's funny is that we were touring around the fall 2006 when the movie The Departed came out. And you know that, the Scorsese movie, right?
Yes.
It's a great movie.
It's a brilliant movie. Yeah.
Fantastic movie. One of my favorite things about it is that it doesn't give you the title till about 20 minutes in, after Leo DiCaprio's character has gone undercover and is in prison. And he's sitting in his cell, and the doors and this accordion music has kicked in, and then this, like, the cell door slams shut and it says The Departed, and then it kicks in with the punk rock part of this accordion song. Like, and we saw it with, like, we went to the theater with Flogging Molly, and it's this Irish Poguesy drinking song, punk rock guitar accordion thing. And so we saw it with Flogging Molly, and one of our friend that we had brought to open for us, we're leaving the theater, and he goes, was that you guys? And the lead singer of Flogging Molly is like, it's Dropkick Murphys. And I just thought, like, and he didn't seem too pissed, but I'm like, God, that has to happen to them all the time. But that was the only time Whitest Kids we ever toured with a band. In 2013, we were just booking, like, weekend circuits, like, hey, we're gonna fly into this town on Thursday and hit this town on Friday, and then go back to our homes, because I was already in South Dakota, Darren was in Pennsylvania, we're all over the place.
Right.
But we would do that. And in 2013, I don't know how this worked or how, like, what was going on, but so every city and most of the dates we would go to, we were either there right before or right after Twiztid, Twiztid, which is another, like, rapping clown group who was on ICP's record label, whatever it's, Psychotic Asshole Records, whatever it's called. Anyway, so we were always, like, either right before or right after, like, the night before, night after Twiztid.
Jesus
and
Christ.
it's funny to me. Like we'd pull into a hotel and in our car and see a tour bus with like, the hatchet guy, that logo, on the bus, and Twisted.
Twisted.
The more you pronounce it, the funnier it is. Twisted.
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 That just sounds horrible. So what do you think happened with the album?
Talk about merchandising ourselves, that kind of stuff. We never did it. We're terrible at it, always, okay? And the CD was part of that, It was made on an independent label, What Are Records, based out of Denver.
Yep.
And they had done some other comedy stuff with Stephen, was it Lynch, I think? No. Anyways, but so they had done some comedy stuff. So I don't know how much pushing it they ever did, if any. It kind of came, and no one really put it out there enough so that our fans could find it. People who are like hardcore super fans of Whitest Kids were like, what album? Now our fans do find it sometimes, and they love it because it is very Whitest Kids. It's weird, and it's offensive. It's got really strange tangents, and it's got some dumb little kid stuff in it too, that like there's songs in it that are horribly offensive, and there's songs on it that are totally G-rated, just like everything we do. And so it's got all of our like thought process in it. I feel like it's a very Whitest Kids thing. So it's just kind of, we had boxes of it and sold them at shows, and that's kind of as far as it went. Well, and and then Trevor ended up having 3 albums that did pretty well, for Comedy Central. And
Trevor Moore, a founder of the Whitest Kids You Know sketch comedy group, has died. He was 41 years old.
Still sorry about Trevor.
Thank you. It was a Saturday morning, so I was supposed to go DJ, and I went for half an hour. I'm like, I can't do this. So, but yeah, it's just wild, man. I mean, I don't know if you ever lost a friend like that, but it's like, we were friends, but we lived together, we worked together. I mean, I call all those guys my brothers I have for a long time. And they call me, we all call each other. So it's just, it's like losing a family member. You know what? There was a funeral in the end of August. And like after the funeral, like, we're like I got a hotel nearby. We're in the hotel. And like, we felt so nice afterwards, And then a month, and we were like, wow, that really helped. And then we met everybody at a bar later and stuff. And I mean, most of us quit drinking because it's like any comedians that are old enough to go to another comedian's funeral have probably quit drinking. But so we did that, and then and it was nice, Then we hung out at Zach's later that night, and it was very nice. But then a month later, we did the memorial show, and that just fucking ruined me. And it ruined everybody. It was just like, I don't know, it was just so much more sad. Yeah, at the memorial show, they played a song he did called My Computer Just Became Self-Aware, where he like smokes a bunch of DMT. All of Trevor's best solo songs end up with like some sort of cracking of reality. And so at some point he like smokes a bunch of DMT and like it meets a bunch of gnomes floating around him that sing like, we're glad you're here, come stay a while. And it's funny when you first hear it, but then when they play it at the memorial show for him, it's like, it just, everybody cried. Because it like feels like a heaven sort of thing or whatever it might be to you, But anyways, we billed it as Trevor Moore's 40th birthday because even though he was 41, when he turned 40, he wanted to have a party where he invited a bunch of people and everybody showed up and he didn't come. That was his idea. And then COVID happened because his birthday's in April. And then COVID happened, so he didn't get to have his birthday. And so Sam's brilliant idea was like, well, this should be that because he won't be there. So we did it. And, it was like a killer lineup.
Wow, that's great.
Like it really was, And each one of us Whitest Kids went up and did a bit. And so that was the first time. One of the 2 times I've done stand-up since COVID was doing a Trevor-specific set. And then my friend Lee, one of the best events he got us was a show at the zoo outside. During a wine walk thing where you buy a ticket and you get in and there's wine and food everywhere and you're walking around the zoo.
At a zoo?
Yeah, at night, at like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night. No, dude, it was great. Honestly, listen, so the first one was in 2019. And so we set up a stage. And so we were by a lot of the food area. So we had chairs set up. And so while people were getting their food, they'd sit down. And so whenever there was enough people around, we had 3 comics get up and do like 3 minutes each, just real short sets. And then when people are, walk away to go do whatever else, you go and you could go drink wine and eat food, then come back when there's more people milling around, you do it again. And we were doing different sets every time, and it was a lot of fun. And so we did it again this year. So the Zoo show and the Trevor show are the only things I've done stand-up wise since COVID. During COVID, Trevor started a new Whitest Kids YouTube channel because we never had an official one, and we started putting up videos there. Then we started streaming on Twitch, and then we realized we could use this new momentum to fund the movie. And I mean, I don't know if you followed us very much, but we were like back together. We were working on this movie, all that stuff. So did you know about the movie?
Not until I read about Trevor's death.
Yeah, Mars. He recorded all his parts and stuff already. So yeah, so it's gonna be done still. We're still working on it. Like we just got sent more animation yesterday. We're talking about there's one song we have to record, which sucks that he can't be there for that because he was the song guy.
Here's either a sample noise or a sample song that does not have a copyright attached to it.
Even after his passing, we're like getting close, to funding the movie, and pretty fucking cool. I don't know what will be after that. I'm sure we'll do something, but who the hell knows? But but yeah. So I don't know. I was streaming weekly, had a cooking show, and I'm just not ready to do it yet. Sam and Darren have gotten back to streaming, but me and Zach are like
just gutted.
Yeah. But I will never not want to be funny in front of people.
I remember I saw you do stand-up for the first time. I was there the first time you did it at...
Whoa, yeah. Rafifi.
Yeah, that's where it was. Yep.
It was at Greg Johnson's show. Shout out to Greg Johnson.
Yep.
Yeah, that was 2006 as well. A lot of 2006 on this show.
Yeah.
That's weird on this episode. Everything's 2006 for some reason. Big year. Big year for Timmy. I was 25. That's when the TV show started. The album came out. I started doing stand-up. Yeah, that's wild. Another thing you might not know is myself and a few other South Dakotan comedian friends got together and put together a festival in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and it benefited the Special Olympics. And the festival came from me being an asshole because I said, wouldn't it be funny to make comedians from LA come to South Dakota in January?
Ooh. That's pretty good.
And that's what we did. Like in South Dakota, you'll get, because I think the first couple years are maybe in early February, but still like, so in South Dakota, you'll get a week in the middle of February that's like, oh, maybe we're out of the winter. And then God like fucks with you for 6 more weeks or whoever it is. Xenu.
Circling back to the Whitest Kids, one thing I always liked about you guys and still do is that your jokes are, and I remember you telling me this, if I'm remembering correctly, the humor, it's not dated. And what I mean by that is like, there's no reference to time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what you recorded in 2006 is still going to be funny.
Most of that still makes sense. Yep. There's always going to be stuff.
Of course.
Like, I'm showing my daughter Monty Python and some stuff I have to pause. Like, okay, first of all, I'll turn on the subtitles. Secondly, I don't know who that British celebrity is either. Like every once in a while, it's from the 60s and 70s. They'll reference something and it's from a different country. So they'll reference something you have no idea. But I mean, a good 90% of their shit is pretty, timeless. And that's kind of what we're going for. And we've definitely got like, the sketch where Sam plays George Lucas and where Trevor plays John Williams. There's going to be people eventually who don't know who the fuck those guys are.
Here's either a sample noise or a sample song that does not have a copyright attached to it. It's nice to catch up with you.
Dude, I'm so glad we could just talk,
yeah.
Dude. I mean, I'm so bad at, like, the technical aspect of friendship, which means talking.
Oh, I'm awful.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm just fucking awful.
But that's why you and I are cool, because, like, we talk, like, every 10 years. It was like, yeah, we're cool,
People I haven't spoken to, they're like, well, it's picking up right where we left off. I'm like, well, yeah, we didn't leave on bed. I mean...
Yeah, it's just that we just kind of got...
Life.
Whatever, yeah. There's all these weird Rhode Island things I'm discovering that, like, pizza strips. Let's go have pizza strips.
No, No, that shouldn't exist.
They're delicious.
No.
It's amazing.
No.
All right, well, all right.
Taylor Swift lives in was it Westerly? Watch Hill? Somewhere around there.
Does she? She want to hang out? Well, let's go have a beer with Tay-Tay. T Swift. My daughter likes her. We can hang out. she's like not horrible. You know what I mean?
No, I will say this sincerely. She's a great songwriter.
Yeah, she's got some good shit. Paper Rings is a good song. Paper Rings
Yep.
is a good song. It's from Love. I don't know. I have a little girl. Yeah.
I got no beef with Tay Tay.
Exactly. So yeah, I'll meet up with you. We'll pick up Tay Tay on the way back into Providence.
Go with some pizza strips.
Me and Keith and Tay Tay and pizza strips. That's a podcast. That you got to record. What do you think of these pizza strips, Tay Tay? And she'll be like, "When you guys gonna let me go?"
First, it'll be muffled. You know?
I'm sorry, Tay Tay. Oh, dude, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for this. I'm looking forward to more Whitest Kids stuff.
Mars is fucking hilarious. It's some of our best work. It just had to be animated, and it's going to be great. It's going to be different, but there will be stuff we can do that we couldn't do otherwise because it's animated. So
Absolutely.
there's going to be a weird dick, and, otherwise, don't know if we could get the weird dick in there. So,
All right, man. Well, listen, take care,
You too.
and we'll talk soon. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Keith.
Later.
See you later.
Abandoned Albums was recorded at Sage Sound Studios in Shelton, Connecticut. Engineered and mixed by Nathan Sage. Produced and written by Keith R. Higgins. Original music in this episode by Scott Holmes. The sketches you heard during this podcast were Jack Benny's Your Money or Your Life, and the following Whitest Kids You Know sketches: Didgeridoo, Welcome, Russian Roulette, Let's Wake Up the Neighbors, Triumph of the Ill, and Good Night. If you like what you've heard, please be sure to subscribe and leave us a review. And follow us on social media. On Twitter, we are @AbandonedAlbums. On Instagram, we are @abandoned_albums.
People are going to be peeing on each other for the rest of time. People love it.
As long as people can urinate, they will be urinating on each other.
Golden showers are never going to go out of style. So.
Water sports, I believe they call it, right?
Water sports, right.